Hey guys, welcome. My name is George Nasser. Today what I'm going to show you is how to make a Signet ring in Autodesk Arcam Premium 2018. So it's very easy to pick out a Signet ring and create something very quickly from the library, but I'm going to show you how to create it from scratch if you ever come across something. So for example, if I go to the assembly and I go to the component library and you go drop down menu, and if you go to actual Signet rings right there, you got the options of many different style Signet rings. They're already made up. And those are great. So if you want something this basic, but you're always wondering how these were created. So I'm just going to bring one in. For example, I'll bring one here. So let's make it, so look at least close to that. So 19 by, and I'm going to import it. Make sure this is on so you can see it. I'm going to shut my thing I created. So this is a regular Signet ring. Okay. So that's something you could actually bring it in and you could work on it and so forth. And it's nice and simple. But what if I want to create something really nice? Okay. So let's do other than this guy here. So let's get rid of him. So we're going to right click and delete, and that will delete this. We could bring him in anytime. But those are all your Signet rings on this side here. There's a lot of options. Okay. But none of them is something I really want. Okay. So we're gonna go to the actual model. Okay, we're gonna go to this option here. It says create three-axis vertical blank, not the aligned one. So this option. So we're gonna call this top because we're only gonna make, and we're gonna leave this American size 10. We're gonna accept it. So let's close this library. So we got this option here. If you notice, we have the bottom and we have the top. So this is if you want to create what I do a cross section, and I'm going to show you how that's done. This is going to create the top piece. When we unwrap it, we bring it in into the actual rotary axis. So first I'm going to do something funky. So I'm going to go to actual star. I'm going to do 6 points. I'm going to go to the center and go out. Okay. So something like that. And then I'm going to grab an oval or round, whatever shape you want it to be. And I'm going to go to the outside. I'm going to touch the outer border on this side here. So this one looks like this. If you feel like this is too close, you could bring it in by pressing T, and now we'll bring it in here. Press F9 to make sure it's centered. So this is pretty much all done now. So we can create this, how we create the top. But we need to create a cross section. This represents the sides of the ring. So in this particular option, anything above a 10 millimeter is considered the actual height. So for example, when I give it a height of 13, it's only a height of 3 above the surface. So I only need a 3 millimeter height. So I'm going to take any box, I'm going to draw it here. So I'm going to do a 3 millimeter because I only want a 3 millimeter height. So this is a 3 millimeter box. You could read it down here as well. And I want to bring this box down. Okay. I want to park it right there. Okay. And it doesn't have to be that wide. You could just bring it in a little bit narrower. So it doesn't have to be this wide. It depends where you want your ring to start, or the arch of your ring. So this was good. So I'm going to take this circle. I'm going to Control C, Control V. I'm going to press N for node. I'm going to grab this, the blue one, and I'm going to snap it right to the box. Okay. And I'm going to adjust it. So that's giving me the side profile of my ring. So this is the inside. And this is giving me how my ring is going to look like. You could bring this out a little bit if you like. If you want a little fatter. And you could adjust it whichever way you like. So if you feel like you need to adjust this, you can play with it. So that's pretty much, I'm going to create my cross section. So what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to bring see the tail right here. I'm going to press L for line. And I'm going to highlight, select that, hold the shift key down, select that, press X. And that's going to give me a straight line. So I'm going to bring this, I'm going to C for cut and C for cut. Okay. So that eliminates this. So now I have a cross section that represents that ring. Okay, so I'm going to bring that cross section. I'm going to bring it over here so I could work with it. So that's going to be the shape of my shank. Okay, so it's going to be selected in this particular order. I'm going to select the outer, hold the shift key down, the inner, cross section. And I'm going to go here, which is called 3D blend. That selected all of them. Make sure it says selected vector. You want to fill the inner. And right here, you could either add a border, but I usually leave it at 0. Remember, we says anything above 10. So I want a 3 millimeter above 10. So I do 13. So 10 and 3 is 13. Add, it doesn't matter. Apply. And here's my top and cancel. So that's what my top looks like right now. Okay. All right. So you can see it. So right now it looks like it's just a blob, but you'll see what's going to happen when I bring it in. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to offset this in a little bit inward. So let's bring it in 0.50 millimeter. Okay. I'm going to sink it down a little bit. So I'm going to subtract this about a 0.5 millimeter. And I'm going to subtract, apply, and cancel. And that's what it looks like here. Okay. So now I'm going to add a name here. So I'm going to do something, whatever design you wish to do. So let's do this here. And bring this name F9 to center. T for to edit it. Bring it in smaller. So you could adjust it to fit. Okay. F9. Great. So I'm going to show you another option because this is kind of blah. There's too much space around here. I'm going to take this here. It's called envelope distortion. So I'm going to highlight just the center. I mean, you can shape it any way you want. You know, you could take that any way you wish. Okay. You can play with it whichever way you like it to look. Okay. All right. So finish. So now we have our name. I'm going to select them all, just the name. And you could right click and group them, but you're only going to use this once. So I'm going to give it a height 0.50 because we subtracted 0.50. So that gives us almost even. See, it's even with the ring. And apply and cancel. So you could also add a background to it if you want texture and so forth. You can do as well. But you would have to do colors. Okay. So if I do colors on this, let's see here, the flood fill. And we do these ones, do these a different color. All right. And let's do these ones here, make sure these are not showing. Okay, great. So now we're gonna texture just the red. Okay. So let's go back to the red. So we're gonna go to texture, this option, texture relief. So I'm gonna make sure the red is selected because I only want the red selected, and I want to select color. And let's give it a weave, and I'm gonna do 0.25 and the height no more than 0.10 because you don't want to go above the name, and apply. And let's see what it looks like. So this is what it's gonna look like right now. Okay, you can make them as big as you want, but you know I don't. So you can see the weaves right there. So let's Control Z and let's give this a little bit bigger. Okay, and see what happens. These are much bigger. They look prettier, right? Okay. So now that's our top. We're all done with this one. So here's what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna add it to the model. Close with a flat plane, that's fine. You don't need a back relief. Create. And this, we'll call it top, and all set. Okay. So this is very important right now. So this is in the project already. You can see it. Now what's important right now, what we're gonna do is we need to create the actual rotary shank, which is the rotary axis. Go to rotary axis. Let's call this shank and leave everything the same. And update, yes. Okay. So right now we have a plain blank page. So make sure these all highlighted. Okay. You could click on either one. It doesn't have to be, as long as there's nothing in the assembly. If that's only the only item, you would have to shut some or right click on the actual item you want to bring in. So right click, and it says right here, create rotary relief. And you're going to see what's going to happen right now. So this is going to bring it in here for us. It brought it into a rotary. You see all this junk here? So let's look at it before we do this. So let's see what happens here. So we're going to shut the actual this. So now we only have the relief. So if we go on the back, okay, so the back relief, that shuts it, and here's our ring. See? And you could do it from this position too. This is the front, and this is the back. So there's our ring, which is half a ring. That's why we need to add a shank to it. Okay? So that's great. That looks great. So let's get rid of all this junk if that bothers you. So if you click F12 and you double click in this area here and make sure it says merge high, that will erase everything. And apply and cancel. Okay? So now you only have this. So you don't have all that junk around it. So right now what we're going to do, we're going to create our half shank. So it's very simple. We're going to go to this here. It's called cross section. So we're going to snap somewhere here. Okay? And we're going to snap somewhere here. Make sure it lines up. And it says align, right click, and you can see it created the actual cross section for us by copying the relief. Okay? So now we're just going to draw our shank. So we're going to go with a polyline. Usually if you want to draw a box here to make your life easier, you can. Okay? So you can snap to it, but it's not necessary. So we go with see how it snaps? Snap, bring it whatever width you want. You pick the width. Okay. Now we're going to select the center line, hold the shift key down, select the top, copy to the bottom. Now we have this. Okay. So now we're going to do in this particular order. We're going to select the top rail, hold the shift key down, bottom rail, cross section. We're going to go to two rail sweep. Okay. And make sure it says merge high. Okay. So we turn these around. So we're going to apply and cancel. And you can see this here added our half shank, but that looks kind of ugly there. So what we're going to do, we're going to smooth this area before we copy to the other side. You go to this tool here, it says smooth. And I put it within 0.10, so I don't want it to go to the outside. So I just want to clean here a little bit. But it's not going to go outside that. See, that smooths gives me a nice smooth look. Okay. Alright, so now that gets rid of the seam there. And that's it. This is done. And our ring is almost done. So we're just going to go and we're going to go to this, which is relief mirror merge, and copy to the left. You know what? You can't do it because I have the name on it. So let's Control Z. But normally that's how you would do it. So what I would have to do, just draw a shank on the other side. So let's copy this over very quickly. We're going to do this. We're going to copy over to the right. Okay. And then we're just going to sweep it. Okay. So we're going to go one. Hold the shift key down. Cross section. Two rail sweep. And merge high. And you can see we leave the name on top. We're going to go back and clean this. Apply and cancel. And let's smudge this. But it would be nice if you didn't have all that name stuff on there. It's nice you just copy it over. But this is much it. So you clean it. Alright. Go. So just be careful you don't you adjust the strength here, because if it's too strong, it's going right through the center. Okay. Alright, so you gotta understand, don't go too crazy because you still have to file it when you cast it and so forth. So this is our ring. Let's save it. And we could look at it in the wax. Let's close this so we don't make a mistake cleaning it. And let's look at it, different options. Okay. Alright, so these are different ways looking at it. Okay. All right, this is it. It's very simple, and I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much.